Hi everyone, welcome to the Boma demo. Great to have you all here. We're joined by Boma's Content Marketing Manager, Liz. Hi Liz.
Hi everyone, great to be here for a demo on Boma.
Fantastic. So we'll try and keep this moving along pretty quickly, about 45 minutes depending on any questions that you may have. So obviously at any time do type in any questions you have, whether they're about Boma itself or any sort of marketing related questions that you might have which we can help you with. So we're just going to use this time to really take you through Boma and show you how easy it is to use to market your firm and small business. So we're going to talk to you about sending multi-channel campaigns, so that's email and social media. We've also got a really great section on the content library, so that content library is full of amazing content written for you by Xero and Boma, and that's for you to send up to your clients. We'll also touch on social ads, which you can use to grow your business, and then obviously we've got landing pages which are great for capturing new leads, which you can then use Boma to market to. One thing just before we get started, it'd be great if you could let us know where you're joining from. I expect there'll be lots of people in New Zealand and Australia, maybe a few also in Southeast Asia. And then one thing we're always really interested to understand is, what are your biggest marketing challenges? So a lot of people say for them that maybe they're not sure where to start, or maybe it's writing content, or more lack of time. So let us know what they are, and I'll sort of read them out as we go, just to give everyone a bit of insight as to what your fellow viewers are also finding a challenge, and we'll obviously try to address some of that as well.
Great. Well, I'm going to show you firstly how to set up your account, and Boma was really created in reference to those challenges that Charlie was talking about, to overcome some of those challenges. So it's multi-channel, it's email, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, all from one channel. You create it once, Boma does all the rest to format it and make sure that it's compatible with the channel that you choose. It also gives you access to free images, so that's another massive time saver and cost saver, and a library of content. And that was really produced because we recognise that there is a major issue, or at least a barrier for marketing online for professional services, for accountants and bookkeepers who are wanting to share insight and advice, but finding that time to write a piece of content. So we provide you with access to a huge library of content, and then you can start with that and then customize it and make it your own. So let's get started. The first thing you would do when you set up your Boma account is to connect your social account. So on the home page here, click on that little label there, and you can see here we've connected to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn Personal, and LinkedIn Company. So this is obviously your own account or a partner in your firm, so that you can be the thought leader on LinkedIn. Creating, if you don't have a company page, is a great idea, because the more that you put out under your company's name, the better for your SEO. It also means that every staff member, if you've got a team, can then share that content on their own page, and Twitter. So with social pages, it's simply a matter of, we've connected, but you'd be clicking connect and then choosing from the drop-down menu to make sure that you choose the social account that you want to connect here.
One thing we've often found is that people will often say to us, look, I've only got one social channel, and Facebook is obviously one that definitely a lot of accountants and bookkeepers are active on. That's great. If you've just got Facebook, don't feel that you have to have all the other ones. It's really about engaging with your clients and your followers on the channel that you're most familiar and comfortable with. So Facebook is it's the biggest social network out there, so you can't go wrong with it. And if you want to start there, and then in the future maybe do a bit of Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter, some or all, just sort of go at your own pace. So the most important thing with any marketing is that you're actually doing it. So don't feel that because you have to have all the accounts and then that kind of makes it more difficult to do. Just make a start on Facebook, and that will start to show you results.
So the other thing that you do in this page is link to your Xero account. And by doing that, you then get access to the Xero Content Library. But you also get a sync, which means that any contacts that you add into Xero come through on a 12-hour sync. We always say the best way to do it is to import contacts through a CSV. So I'd recommend that you do it that way. And you can see here the fields that you can add. There's a valid example here. You simply choose your CSV from your file or drag and drop.
Exactly, and that could be whether you're using XPM, you could just export a CSV file, or if they're coming in from another email system, you could just export that CSV and then import it into Boma. And the great thing is that when you do import it, you can tag people. So you could tag people as prospects, or maybe they're your retail clients, or they're your agricultural clients. And we'll sort of show you when we send out an email how you can then use that to make sure that you're sending emails to sort of segments of your audience to make sure that they're really relevant.
So you create the tags. They're not a drop down. They're not created by us. They are created by you, and that means that tag is going to have the most meaning for you. So it might be a vertical, such as pharmacy. It could be across all small business. Obviously here we've got a VIP tag and the date that that contact was imported. So if we then go back to our dashboard, we've imported contacts, we've connected social accounts, and then finally let's make sure that we've got our brands set up for our email. So the only thing you need to do here is upload your logo, and Boma pretty much does the rest. It's designed so that you don't need specialist design skills. If you do know the hex codes, you can put it there, but by uploading the logo, Boma has then pulled out the colours from the logo and suggested other colours, and that means that you can very easily, quickly create the beginnings of your template on social media. So, for example, if we look, on email, so if we look at the button, we can click other colours to say, well, does that stand out better? I think the yellow looks better if I'm going to have a call to action at the end. So that's all you need to do there, and then click next. And then just enter your return address in order to comply with global email legislation, your from details, and you can change this for each email you send out, but I'm going to put that in as a default to begin with, and then put the address of each social account that you have. This means that they'll appear as little icons on the bottom of your email, and it obviously makes it easy for people to connect with you on whatever channels you use. So the best way to do that, if you're not sure what the address is just go to your Facebook account and look at the URL in the URL field, in the web address field, and take that address in order to add it here. And then put your website address in here, and you're done. So you're now started, you've got your branding set up, you've got your contacts in order to email them, and you can create your first campaign.
Fantastic. So for our first campaign, I think the easiest way to start it, there's sort of two options. One is to click on the create button there, and that will actually show you all the things that you can do. So it could be an email newsletter, which you write yourself, could be a social post or update. You can share to all your channels, so that would be email and social, or you could go and do a landing page or a social media ad. So we'll get onto all those in a minute. First, we're going to show you the easiest way to create a campaign, which is to go into the content library. So if you've ever had a sort of a Friday afternoon panic because you need to send out that newsletter, or you need to sort of do some social posts, or want to inform your retail clients about the newest point of sale information, you can come into the content library, and there's well over 100 current articles in there at the moment, and they're updated regularly every single week. So you can see on the left-hand side that you can search for them as well, and we've also got categories. So we could search, say, for cash flow, and if we search for cash flow, then that will bring up any content that has cash flow in it. So you can see the first couple, it's about getting paid, getting in control. So if we click on the getting in control of the cash flow, and we want to have a little bit more of a look at that, you can actually start to scroll down and see that piece of content. So we've got the image in there that you might like to share, the social media summary. So this is basically your social media post written for you. You can obviously customize it if you want. and then the full content. So the full content will be pulled into an email for you, but also you can share it on your website. So if you wanted to put it on a page on your website and then send out a social post and link back to that page, then that's a really great way to drive people back to your website, which is obviously, you know, then you can start to talk to them, you know, maybe capture their information and then start to market to them. So look, I think we'll send out this piece of content. So if you see the blue button, deliver this content, we'll just click on that. And then it gives you the options as to where you want to share it. So is it just in an email, or is it just on social update, or both? So we'll do both just for this example. So you can name it. This won't be shown to anyone other than yourself. It won't be seen by any of your clients. So you can call it whatever makes sense to you. Once we've named it, the next stage is basically shows you what it will say on your social post. And this is a great way if you want to make an amendment which will go out across all your social posts. So if we add a hashtag, so hashtag cashflow, and then if we click save, and then you'll actually see that across all the social channels, so LinkedIn, LinkedIn Personal, Twitter and Facebook, you can see that those that edit we made, the cash flow has come through. Now, the only thing to note with your social channels is that Facebook doesn't allow you to pull sort of us to pull through content for you, but the easiest way around is just to copy and paste it in from one of your other channels, just as we've done now. So also the other great thing is that if you want to have a slightly different message across your different channels, you can. So you don't have to say the same thing on every channels. You might like to edit, say, your LinkedIn channel and just to add a little bit more information at the start.
Yeah, and you're going to have a different voice across each of your channels. So you might be a little bit more formal on LinkedIn, a little bit more personal on your own, and on Facebook, a little bit more personality probably. So it is worthwhile making a little bit of edit for each of your channels and making it yours.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. At the moment, because we've got all our channels selected and we've connected to them all, it shows all the channels. If you only, say, had Facebook connected, it would just show your Facebook channel connected. Equally, if you want to say, look, I don't want to do Twitter anymore, you can just click on the tick button.
I was just going to suggest that we just mention in here, you can see a counter,
Yeah.
So you won't go wrong when you type here if you can just see how I'm typing and the counter's going down. So it makes sure that you stick to the limit on Twitter.
Great point. Yeah, so we've just tagged toggle Twitter off. So again, you can switch these on and off, and if we go ahead and switch it back on again, then the content that was in there has still been saved. So great, the next stage is to look at the email. And this is where you can really start to customize who this email goes out to. So at the very top, we've got the audience, so selected contacts. And earlier when we were talking about your contacts, we said that you could tag them. So there are two ways you can send them. You can send it to everyone, or you can send it to people with specific tags. So if we send it to all our agricultural people, and again, you could also exclude people. So say, look, we want to send it to agricultural, but we want to exclude those who are Xero active. So these would be our agricultural clients who aren't on Xero, and maybe we want to help get them onto Xero or some other piece of action that we want them to take. So if we close and save that, then the next stage is to select a template. So think of a template as your sort of email library, and you can go in there and choose different layouts. So if we look at previous emails, so previous emails are emails you've sent in the past, and if there's a layout that you really like, you can actually go in here and then just reuse that layout. So it might be that you send an email newsletter out every month and you really like the layout, so you want to keep using that. So if you click on preview, you can go in and see it. And then if you want to make any changes, you can go back and select and edit it. The next one are instant templates. So this is what we'll be using today, and this basically allows you to pull in the content from the content library. And then just before we do that, we'll show you the theme templates. So they don't pull in content from a content library, but they're a great place to get you started for your own newsletters. So we've put in a basic structure of, and it's 6 really high-performing email templates, and so you can see the layout with different layout options, whether it's we've got sort of large Xero images or text at the top. You can basically go in there and then feel free to edit those in any way that you want to. So for instant templates, we'll use Big Content Basic for this demo. And we'll just load up the email editor. And this basically is a full email editor, and it's super, super flexible. And you can pretty much email or edit everything that you see in here. So if we wanted to, say, start at the top and we wanted to increase the size of the huge accounting logo, we just click on it, and then we can just increase that a little bit, as you can see there. Going down, the image can be edited as well, so that's super, super easy. Click on Change Image, and this opens up your image library. So there's a couple of things, parts of your image library. There's where you've uploaded images previously, so this is sort of your current library, and you can upload them from your laptop or phone, or you can obviously search our free image library. So this has got over 500,000 stock images, and they're free for you to use. So if we search for cash, and then you can see up come hundreds and hundreds, I think there are 170 images of cash. And you can be, as specific as you want. You can sort of search for coins, you could search for cash. You can also search for things not related to anything like this. So if we search for beach, so if we were doing a Christmas newsletter for the Southern Hemisphere, and so you want to say, have a relaxing time on holiday, then up come 170 images of beaches, and you can choose to import any one of those that you want to. So we'll just use one that we've searched for earlier. So let's use the growth one. Yeah. So you can see that's in there, and then now we can get on to editing, if we want to, the text. So everywhere that we are basically hovering, we can edit. So let's add a greeting, so a personalized greeting. So we could say dear, and then we want to make sure that their first name is in there. So we can say merge tags. So this basically pulls out the first name of your contacts, and then there we've automatically personalized the email. If you want to go further and maybe change any of the content in here, so it says fast ways, but we don't agree with the last one and we want to change it, you can just delete it and add anything in that you want to. Another nice trick is obviously also to have a sort of your outros. So we want to have a goodbye message. So we've got get in touch with cash flow, see how we can help.
We can add your something. I'm sure you write it better than that.
Great, and then we'll just personalize the ending, so we can say kind regards or regards from us.
So we might want to add a button in there in order for them to make it easier for them to get in touch. And on the right-hand side, you can see, so we've got the settings, which we looked at before when we changed the width of the logo. You can change fonts and colors in here, but I tend to leave that as it is. The rows is about the architecture of your email, so you can bring another whole block of text or something in there, or an image beside text, and then you fill that architecture with some content. So if, for example, we want to add a button, I'm going to go to the bottom here, add a row and bring that in, and then go back to content and choose a button, drag that in. Sorry, I haven't got my mouse attached properly. So, and then highlight that button so that I can change the text. Oops. And it could be contact us or book a time or something similar. And then over on the right-hand side, you can see the action that you want that button to take. So if it's open a web page, that could be the URL of your contact us page. You could get them to send you an email. So it could be, I want them to email me huge accounting, etc. See? And then the topic of that would be cash flow, and maybe one sentence that says, I'd like to make a time to talk about cash flow in our business. That will open an email in their email browser, and they can go from there. So we have got a question at the moment. Charlie,
Yeah, so I just thought I would answer this question in person rather than typing, because it's hit on a really important point. And the question was, do we need a client's approval before sending them a marketing email? So I think if I was sort of reading your email, the fact that you said a client, so you already have a relationship with them. So in that case, no, you don't need their permission because you have that relationship. So it's very natural that you would be emailing them. If you, for example, if they weren't a client, but they were a prospect or someone that you had just met, then you do need to think about what permission that you have to email them. So say, for example, they gave you their business card at a meeting. Well, it's fair enough that you then might put them on your list and then start emailing them. If you, for example, bought their email address from an unscrupulous dealer of email addresses, and who knows how they might get their email addresses, but if you bought a list of email addresses and then start spamming those people, no, then that's very much frowned upon and is not legal. So if you've got their email address because they attended a conference or you met them somewhere, or if they sign up on your website, then all that is absolutely kosher. If you buy their email address from somewhere and they have never given you their permission, then that's definitely not allowed. So I hope that answers your question.
So yeah, but every email that comes out through Boma does have an unsubscribe button. If they do unsubscribe, they will still be a contact in your contact list, but you won't be able to email them until they subscribe again. And when we show you landing pages, you can see that you can create a sign up for newsletters and information from you, and include a button that asks them to opt in to be emailed by you. So, and in order to grow your database, that is the way to do it. So when you're happy with the changes that you've made in your email, save and close. And if we just go back into that email, you can see that you can send your self a test email back in the channels. The other thing that we didn't show you was that the subject line and the preview description is also highlighted for you. So, and pre-filled for you. You can change all of those. It does make sense to make that compelling, because that's the first thing that's seen in someone's email inbox. So you want to encourage them to open it. Down here you can see you can send yourself a test email, and when you're happy with all of your channels, and you can preview them by clicking on the preview button. There's your LinkedIn, here's your tweet. Some of the posts that you get out of the content library will have hashtags suggested for you. Hashtag is like a little search engine. You can actually search content on a hashtag. You could start creating a hashtag for your own business. Make sure they're specific and relevant, and they have no punctuation, but they can have a capital letter. So if it's business tips, you could start with a capital B, no spaces, and a capital T. I'm going to schedule delivery. And then you can decide whether you want to send it immediately or schedule it for a specific time. So if it's got very late in the day, send it for the following day. And we've got the 6th, which is the following day, and we might send that for 10:15 in the morning.
So we've obviously been taking you through the sending of an email and a social media campaign. So it's probably taken a little bit longer than if we were just doing it ourselves. But I think it really highlights one of the questions that Benjamin from Sydney asked, which was their main challenge was time to plan and implement marketing campaigns. And that is a real challenge even for professional marketers. You have to write the email, you have to go in and structure the email and then repeat it across all the different social channels. So, that's what we really are all about at Boma, is trying to cut that time and the cost of doing your marketing campaigns, and starting with that content library will just put you so far ahead of the game, because you already have something to say, and then you just have to decide how you want to customize it and then which channels you want to send it out onto.
So I've just gone into the campaigns that I've sent. This is a demo account, so there aren't figures in here, but you can see that Boma will then collate all the engagements that you get across your social channels, so clicks, shares, likes and comments in Facebook, impressions, comments and likes in LinkedIn, etc. And if you go into your email, you'll also see how many were processed and delivered. So if there are any issues there may be issues with an email that's not working, and how many opened. If you had links in your email, how many clicked on those links. So we now go back to the dashboard. We've shown you the content library. We've also had a brief look at creating from scratch. So if you created a newsletter or social media update or all free channels, you can do that here. You can also create a social media ad. Before we do that, I'm going to quickly look at landing pages because we've talked about adding people to your email newsletter database. So if I click on landing page, we can create a landing page here. I'm going to go into my landing pages and show you a landing page that I've created before. You could use these if you had to had an event that you were collecting registrations for example, if you want a newsletter sign up, or as a promotion. So let's look at one that we've created as a promotion. So Boma allows you to select the name of your landing page and all the headings and information within it. So we've created a landing page that says 1 hour free advisory with your business and we'll make the coffee. So obviously we're trying to promote and grow our business. We've selected email as default because obviously you need that in order to contact them. We've selected first name, last name, phone number, company name, but if I select one off, you can change that. By including the terms and conditions checkbox, sorry about the rain, it's raining outside, so I'm sorry about the noise of that. It's meant to be summer, but it's clearly not arrived just yet. The terms and conditions checkbox is important so that you can then get them to opt in for further communication from you. When you've made the changes that you want, click Save. You can also look at the post submit form and change any of the text on here to something that's personalized. And you can add a tag so that whoever fills out this landing page will be tagged with something that you can then go back and find them.
I think one other thing just to add here, because it's often something that our users like to do. So at the moment we're showing them a message, so thank you, we'll be in touch. The other option is to send them to a custom page. So the custom page is basically a URL. So if we click on that, so custom URL, so this could be your website. So you want them after they fill it in to go back to your website. It could even be a piece of gated content. So we often do it at Boma, and so we have a marketing ebook, and so people have to fill out a form exactly like this, and then when they've done that, they get access to the marketing ebook, which they can then download. So that's a really that sort of gated content's really fantastic because I'm offering the person downloading a piece of valuable content, which would cost them a lot of money to have it either if they had to do it themselves, and in return they give me their email address, and then I can start that marketing conversation with them. So showing them maybe it's my expertise, because I start to send them more information on in our case it's marketing, digital marketing, specific to accountants, but in your case it might be you want to highlight your knowledge and expertise in advisory or a specific element of advisory. So
a tangible example of that might be that you write a sort of 3 or 4 page document on sort of efficiencies for tax, and you turn that into a PDF and post that on a page on your website that is not seen in the navigation of your website in the menu, and then that could be the URL that you send people to so that they can download that PDF, which is like a sort of little ebook. So we're now going to save what we've made, how we've designed our landing page, and then you'll see there's a URL here. So I'm going to now go into, I've opened Boma in 2 tabs so that I can keep that one open and start a social campaign to use that landing page. So if I click create and click a social media ad, the reason we're doing a social media ad rather than just pasting on Facebook is that if you post to your social accounts, you'll be seen by the fans and followers of those accounts. Now, depending on how active and engaged you've been on your social accounts, the number on there will depend on that. If you want to reach a wider audience, you can put a bit of budget behind it and create a social media ad. So I'm going to do this ad in Facebook. I'm going to choose a location that is relatively specific because I want people from my local area. And that means that my budget will work a little bit harder if I keep that targeting relatively tight. I'm looking at business owners, so I'm going to go a little bit older, perhaps 28. That might be a bit young, but you'll know based on the audience that you currently work with, the clients that you currently work with, what sort of age range and what sort of interests. So interests are anything that they've shown interest in online, which Facebook has noted. So any comments or posts that they've showed an interest in. It doesn't have to be accountant, and it probably isn't. They're on there looking at things that interest them rather than when they're on Google, which is maybe searching for you. So we could put anything from rugby, it could be hobbies, it could be events, locations, education, could be small business. Once you start typing, you'll find a variety of drop downs that you can choose from. It could be, this is people in the construction industry, so it might be building materials that they've shown an interest in online. We're going to do male and female, and then choose the dates that you want it to start and finish. I recommend running it for a week as opposed to a month, so that you can really analyze it at the end of that week and go, well, that worked really well, I'm going to run it again, or I want to make some tweaks. Put some budget there and click save. Oops, I'm sorry, I've done something. 6 to 13, and I may not have put quite enough there for that time period. Next step is to choose an image. Now we've said in our landing page that we're going to give away a free hour of advisory, and we're going to make coffee. So I'm going to search coffee and choose an image from the ones provided. I always suggest that you do use a landscape image, as in long ways rather than portrait, as that works a bit better on your social pages. Click save and then define the content. Any questions, Charlie, while we're...
Yeah, we just had one, and I have sort of responded online, but one was about can you resend campaigns? So if you sent one and then you wanted to follow up with it again, if someone hadn't opened it, yeah, you can definitely do that. So it'll be stored in your previous emails and your previous campaigns, and you can basically go on there and then having tagged the people who didn't open your previous campaign, you could just then add them in there. And then a really interesting one just in terms of why are Facebook ads and Facebook social posts separated? And that's basically, they're separate in Boma because they're separate in Facebook. So if you've ever posted ads in Facebook, you need to actually go to a Facebook ads manager, which is a whole different part of Facebook. So we have basically followed their advice, which was to keep them separate.
So yeah, there are a number of ways you can advertise on Facebook, for example. You can boost a post. That means your post is already on your feed. By boosting it, you reach a slightly wider audience. By creating an ad, you're not seen on your feed. The benefit there is that you can run a short-term campaign and then it disappears, and it is seen on other people's feeds, the feeds of the people that you've targeted, and it is a bit more sophisticated in the way it works. So within Boma, you create Facebook ads. Obviously, if you want to boost your own posts once you've done it, you can do that within your own account.
Yeah, I would just put one caveat on boosting. So Facebook, you'll often see in Facebook, why don't you boost this post? Other people are boosting it. You advertise, then you can follow the same process we showed earlier, where you really are specific. Where are these people that you want to target? What are they interested in? What are their age ranges? And it's much more effective. Anyway, so that's my 2 cents on boosting versus social ads.
So now that we've got our ad there, you can see we've put our image in, we've got a little bit of a comment, and now that we're going to use our landing page here, we want people to book a time or get in contact. So I've chosen the action book now. I'm going to go back to my landing page and select and copy the landing page URL back into that ad and paste. So anyone that clicks on the Book Now button will go through to our landing page, fill out the landing page form, be tagged with the 1 hour free advisory and coffee, and we'll be able to make contact with them. Click Save. And the next step will be Preview and Send. So you can see all the targeting information that you chose there, and the credit card will only be charged when your ad starts and you can deliver. So one other thing, I'm going to exit that campaign in order to show you one other thing in Boma. Makes it very easy for you to up your content marketing and send content that is really relevant and useful out to people. If you have either started writing your own blog, or you have seen something online that you think would be interesting for your target audience, you can share a URL. So I'm going to go and click on Social Media Update. I'm not going to change the title here, but you absolutely can. And I'm going to share a URL. If I then go into Boma's blog, and by the way, you'll find lots of really useful content on the Boma website for marketing your firm. And we're going to choose a piece of content. There we go. Select and copy the URL. Back into Boma. Paste the URL. And Boma will create a campaign for you. Now, Boma scrapes out the hero image from that page. You can see the title there, and it takes the first paragraph of text, which obviously we'll probably want to edit. It's going to be too long, especially for Twitter, but it gives you the beginnings of a campaign. It makes creating campaigns extremely easy, and also sharing your blog post, because prior to this, if you had a blog post and wanted to share it on your social channels, you had to go into each channel, paste it in and format it. Boma does all that work for you.
And if you think about, in terms of the editing, mostly what you want to have on your social post is something really engaging, so something that intrigues people, something basically to get them to click on your link or your button to take them through. So oftentimes a great place to start is your first paragraph, and as Liz has done, she's made a few amendments, and then add a few hashtags in there, which, as we talked about earlier, when anyone searches, say, for huge accounting in this instance, or small biz, then your post will be included, which is obviously great for your business.
With Twitter, just make sure when you are deleting that first paragraph, if you are sharing a link, you must keep that link in your tweet. Otherwise, there'll be no link through to it. So I've just made sure that that URL stays there. Now, I'm pasting the same comment in across all channels, but as we said before, really worthwhile making those personalised, thinking about who you're targeting on each channel and talking to them directly.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be whole-scale changes. It might just be a few words here and there, just to make, as we were talking about earlier, the more formal LinkedIn and the more fun, informal sort of Facebook and Twitters. It doesn't take much to sort of get it right for both channels.
And then schedule delivery.
Fantastic. So we've had quite a few questions, but does anyone have any other questions about how Boma works? We've got a couple of minutes, and we'd love to answer any questions about Boma, or if you've got any marketing questions in particular. Just while we wait, while anyone has a think, you can see here we've got the Getting Started with Boma. So if you click on that, it actually opens up a quick 2-minute video, and that will sort of get you started on how to send your first campaign. So it's a very quick, I suppose, look at what we have sort of taken you through. If you have any questions about sort of Boma in particular, you can obviously click to the help resources. So we've got FAQs, we've got video tutorials, and then also the video tutorials will take you through. There's also a previous recording of one of these up there, but obviously we'll be sending out this one to you all as well. And the other thing is, on the Boma page in particular, there is a blue help button, and so that's the place that you can go to, and you can do live chat, so you can ask us questions. So there it is down the bottom right. and you can really get going. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions come in. And the first one is, would you provide a new menu for us in the future if we don't remember how to do it? So great question. So we are working on at the very moment, and probably be working early next year, if not before, is basically a walkthrough. So when you first land on Boma, there will be basically a cursor sort of floating. It will take you through all the different menu items. It'll highlight on this page, what latest campaigns are, how to start to set up your campaign, what the content library is, and then say if you click into landing pages, it'll give you a step-by-step sort of walkthrough guide of exactly what to do, and you can play that at any time. One last one. So this is a great question, and I was waiting for it actually because we often get asked it. So the question is it possible that a competitor is using the same campaign that we use? So I suppose it is possible that another accountancy firm sees a piece of content and then sends it out. In the year and a bit that we've been going, we've often had the question asked of all our users. We've never had the complaint once we've been using it, and the reason is there's a couple of reasons. So one is everything is branded, so it's your branding. So if you think of all the times, and we do it as well, that you see a great news article and then you share it from our Facebook page or social page, it's content that's out there, but it's branded by us. And then we often add a comment, so it's our tone of voice, it's our opinion, it's our view on something. So we've customized it, it's from us. I suppose secondly, and on the customization front, as we've talked about, make it your own, personalize it, have the intro, outro, you can change the images. So by the time you've customized it, you put your branding on it, it will probably look pretty different to anything else that's out there. And I think the last point, and we've actually spoken to a few accountants about this, is how many people have 3 or 4 accountants? I know I have one, Liz has one, Boma has one. And so we rely on that accountants. And so we're not sort of getting 5 accountants sending us emails every month. And we follow them on Facebook. Again, we're not following multiple accountants. Having said that, again, critical that you customize it. And then the last question is, are there any copyright issues on the content? So the answer is everything is copyrighted, but it's when you use it in Boma or on your website, and if you don't mind just clicking into a piece of content.
This one's a Xero one. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see on the right-hand side where you can share it. So email, social, and website. So that means that it's okay for you to use on those channels. Sometimes you might see that it's only email and social, so you can't share it on your website. But so that's your guide in terms of copyright and to where you can share it.
Thanks for listening, everyone. As we said, you can look at FAQs, marketing resources, video tutorials in the app. As this is a demo, you won't see it. You'll see the chat bot. You can ask questions there. You can talk to someone specifically, and you can book a one-on-one demo. So thanks, everyone, for joining us. And we look forward to hearing from you and see how you get on with your marketing.
Yeah, I suppose just as I sign off, obviously there's a 2-week free trial, so you can give Boma a go for 2 weeks. If you like it, then you can sign on anytime during that. During that time, you get access to all the content libraries, so you can do everything that we showed you. The only thing that you can't do unless you enter in a credit card is to do social ads, and that's just because obviously a social ad, you're spending money via Facebook, so obviously you'll need to pay for that. But that's super easy. You just enter in your credit card details where we're showing you, and it's as simple as that. So brilliant. As Liz said, thanks everyone so much for joining. This is our last one for the year, so have a fantastic holiday Christmas season, and we'll talk to you all again in the new year.